Okay, folks, going to do a little squirrel hunting today before the season's over. It's about 4:30 in the morning, still got a little bit of dark, but I'm going to do a venison frittata, if you will. And I'm not so sure that this is a true frittata, but it's basically you cook up your meat, throw all your spices in, and you know, your meat, if you want to cook it with the meat. And I'm actually using a venison sausage, a ground sausage from my friend Mike, who you've seen in a couple of my ice fishing videos. And this is his version of venison sausage, ground sausage, and he calls it Molly's. And it's got a little bit of a kick to it, but it's really good. And I'm just going to cook it up and do that first. And when I cook the venison, I generally cook that alone by itself, set it to the side, then I do my onions and garlic. And in that we've got onions, garlic, obviously, little slappy mama, little Old Bay, because I won't cook anything without Old Bay, salt and pepper, and then I'll caramelize all that, and then in the end we'll throw the eggs in and then throw the cheese on the top and throw it in the oven and bake it. And basically you've got a nice frittata, for the lack of a better word. But anyway, we're going to get going. And again, I'm not I've mentioned this before, I'm not a professional chef by any stretch, but I got some of my buddies are actually, like Tom Uvoli, Bushcraft on the Mind. He's actually a chef, and he does some pretty interesting stuff. But you know, we just cook whatever tastes. You know, if it tastes good, we cook it. So anyway, I'm going to do this. Cook the meat up first, and then we'll get going on the rest of the stuff. There's nothing like venison in a cast iron fry pan to get the spirit going. I mean, if there's anything worth getting up for, it's that. You can see I got a few things going. I've got a stock going here that's been doing for the last 3 or 4 days. That's almost ready. Make our own stock and then use it in various things when we do our stews and chowders, or stews and soups and whatnot. Actually, I do a venison stock, which is really, really good. If you've never made stock out of venison, you don't know what you're missing out on. I just take all the bones and ribs and whatever's left, put it in a pot, boil it down. Well, keep breaking it up and boiling it down, and it makes almost a caramel-like sauce or stock. It's the best stock I've ever had in my life. But as you probably well know, venison's a little on the dry side, or lean side, certainly. And you got to be careful you don't dry it up and overcook it, because although you want it cooked, you don't want it overcooked. So, good. And that smells absolutely phenomenal. Another half a stick of butter in there, right? You cook that on low for a while. But that is going to fill the bellies at this morning, I'll tell you. Get it all busted up good. That's done. I'm going to do what little liquid I have in there. I'm actually going to pour off into my stock. A little bit, not much. And put it off to the side for now. I'm going to cook up my onions and garlic and get those all caramelized before I throw them in there. There's something I think I failed to mention. We got some fresh chanterelle mushrooms that we got last summer that have been canned and put away, and I put that in here as well. So we got fresh venison and chanterelle mushrooms in our frittata. Gonna be good. Some people just throw their onions right in, like with their eggs. I like my onions cooked a little bit, and that way I can also caramelize them with the garlic, and it just brings out the flavor, I think. You can do it either way, I guess. But I usually use about a half an onion. So you cut that garlic right up nice and thin. Let's just get at it. Yank the heart out of it too. A lot of people, well, I press a lot of garlic, but if I'm slicing it, I try and pull the heart out, which makes it taste, because it takes a little bit of the bitterness away. 6 to 1/2 dozen, I guess. I don't know. Pour garlic in. It's all chopped up. With that, brown just a little bit. Garlic has a certain smell. When it's ready, you can tell. The only way I can tell is by the way it smells. That's about ready. We'll take our venison back on the heat. Yeah, that's hot. Yeah. If you're wondering, that's a hot pan. You can also put in all the peppers and all that stuff you want, but I like mushrooms, onions, and garlic. That's and some cheese. So I'm going to heat that back up a little bit. I'm going to beat up some eggs. I use about 8 eggs, 6 or 8, depending on how much meat I have. Cut a little bit of heavy cream. Ooh, even better, some farm fresh milk. How about that? Oh, it's good stuff. Now, I know I throw caution to the wind usually, but I guess the rule of thumb, for every 6 eggs you should use about a quarter to half a cup of eggs. I'm sorry. For every 6 eggs, you should use a quarter of a cup of dairy or milk. I think that's the ratio. And in all honesty, that does make a difference in the consistency. But basically, again, it's called a Woodsman measure. I just dump it in. It around, and I'm going to shut the heat off. I'm basically just trying to keep everything hot. Once I get this ready to go, I'm going to put it in the oven at 350 for 20 to 30 minutes. And again, that varies, so you don't want to overcook your frittata. So check it at 15, 20, usually 20, 25 minutes is all it takes at 350 if you got everything good and hot and ready to go. I'm going to put a few more eggs in this though because I use a little more meat than I usually do, so bear with me. And what I do is I drain my chanterelles, drain the liquid off, throw those in. I like to keep those near the top, if I can. Once I get those in place, I throw my seasonings in, which is a little slap your mama. My favorite seasoning, slap your mama. Old Bay, of course. Now bear in mind, Mikey spices up his sausage, so you gotta be careful when I put in my little standbys. Once you cook your venison, you can put a little salt in it. I don't like to. I was always taught never use salt when you're cooking your venison, but once it's cooked, I think it's okay. At least that's what I do. Salt and pepper. Now the coup de grace. Little asiago along the top. I don't know. I'm no culinary expert, but I'll tell you what, that looks and smells really good. Let the oven heat up, and then it's almost ready. We'll throw it in. Yeah, 350. And then we're going to check that in 15, and probably looking at about 20 to 25 minutes because the fry pan's still hot and the cast iron, it's pretty warm, but it takes a good, you know, you gotta cook it, but you can't overcook it. So I'll get back to you. Oh yeah. Grab an oven mitt at this point. Oh, look at that. Are you kidding me?